Well, good morning. Good morning. And I want to say good morning because it is a good morning anytime that you have the opportunity to celebrate a life that was so well lived. Anytime we come together as a community of faith to celebrate the gift of eternal life. And this morning, Councilmember Knox and Helen and Kira and the extended family, I want to say thank you for the privilege of talking about Jason Michael Knox. A guy that I was telling his parents that he's just an old soul, man. The guy's 35, but it seems like God gave him a lot of wisdom. And as we talk about him today, you're going to learn that he wasn't just a talker, he was a doer. He's a guy that we could learn a lot of and from, because he taught us a lesson in perseverance, a lesson in goal setting, a lesson in never giving up, a lesson in if you get knocked down, you dust yourself off, and you get back up and you jump on the horse. So before I make my comments, I want to start off with a little something that, you know, in policing, we all know that when we come and we apply and we go through that interview process, we talk about how we want to do A, B, C, and D, and thank God that most of us follow through. And I think what hurts the most is that we lost a man that he didn't give us a spiel. He gave us his heart. And thank God he gave his soul to Jesus. And so today, man, my mind for the last week, Kira, Helen, Mike, it's been why? And I know the why is because it was God's will to bring him home. And that's what we need to hold our hat on. He was raised by a family that taught him about values, that taught him about the importance of family, that taught him about the importance of loving people, loving a stranger, putting it on the line. And if you think about that old soul, you don't believe me, the history that he talked about, his love for this department extended to the past, to the present, and to the future. And he always had an eye to all three. And today I want to get one of his classmates to stand up, because if you know, he's always with those cars that he rebuilt and that baby blue uniform with the patch that's more expensive than the one piece, but so with budgets. So his classmate that's wearing his Class A uniform, stand up in honor of Jason. Let's look over back there. He's right there. Let's give him a big hand. One of his classmates. The day that we got the call that in the middle of the night, a little past 2, that 75 Fox had gone down, they told me it was Jason. I remember I called the mayor and I started calling Mike Knox, and I'm going to call you Mike because I feel like I need a dad too, so you can be my dad right about now. And kept calling, and I was thinking, God, if you know Jason, it was like, wait a minute, he just about less than a year ago he had a mishap, and he wasn't the pilot, but he was the flight officer. And I remember when we got the word that God had brought him home, he's not dead. He's alive. He's in a perfect state. He's not suffering. He's living, and I can't speak after chaplain anymore because he takes your words away. He is soaring in the heavens. He doesn't stop for refueling. He doesn't do anything. He can soar anywhere he wants to go, and he's watching over us. And when I found out he passed, I remember coming to Fox that morning to Air Support Unit. We all met after we took him to the ME's office, and remember what I told you guys? I mean, when in the world does lightning strike twice? And I've been in prayer since May 2nd. Lord, what is it that you were trying to tell us when you had our Jason, your Jason, Houston's Jason, involved in 2 incidents? Now, I remember telling these men and women, remember that morning I said, and I might even told you, council member, I said, you know, God said, wait a minute. You've got more work. You've got more work. And the work that the Lord used him, that vessel, that spirit, that soul, that hero, because he is a hero. And I don't just throw that out, because we're not here calling him a hero because he died, because he gave his life. We're calling him a hero because of the way he lived his life. And I've been asking the Lord, please put in my heart, what is it? Why did you save him that night? We're all relieved. You saw that helicopter. And I remember telling his shipmates or his air unit mates that God had more work for him. And this morning, as I was in prayer, I started shaving, and it struck me, wait a minute. We had Imelda come through here. See, that helicopter crash happened on July 4th, I believe, of 19. And I believe in destiny. I believe God does not make mistakes. He knew what he was doing. He brought Jason to a family that gave him the gift of values, the gift of love, and ultimately the gift of Christ and faith. So on July 2nd, he's good. I mean, he's banged up, but he's good. And the first lesson he's taught us, when you have a goal, and when the good Lord puts in your mind that this is what I want from you, this is your calling. See, because this wasn't a job for Jason, it was a calling. It wasn't a paycheck for Jason, it was a mission. And that's the way he conducted. He says, I've got some more work for you. So he got up, and he didn't quit. He got back on the saddle. He got back in their air support, right? He stayed in air support. He kept on going. So he taught us the importance of resiliency, of perseverance, of the never quit spirit. And then on September 20th, we had Imelda come through. And if you know anything about Jason, if you have not heard about Jason, he wasn't just phenomenal at everything he did. Ambassador for the police department, right? Friend to all. The only time I haven't seen that man smile was on that video. And look how smooth that guy was. I mean, he had an answer. That guy had an answer because it was from the heart. He spoke the truth. He might have been a BSer a little bit like Mike Knox with this sarcasm, a little bit, right, Kira? But he was extremely focused. And on September 20th, I got an email shortly after the incident last week from the Harris County Sheriff's Department reminding me, Chief, I don't want you to forget that on September 20th at 4 o'clock in the morning, we had a deputy that had been swept away and was clinging to life and was barely hanging on. And we were losing hope. And all of a sudden, Jason Michael Knox, from whatever feet he was at, spotted that deputy, and we were able to bring in boats to rescue him, and he saved a life between July of 2019 and September of 2020. You see, God wasn't done with him. The next day, you all remember, we had flooding all over our region. And that day, our brothers and sisters from the Houston Fire Department, they were out there, and one of their boats they were in ends up losing power. You all remember that HFD, right? And then they ended up, 2 of their firefighters in the water, and one was hanging on to a signpost in the raging, dirty, flooded water, and the other one, I think, was on the top of a roof. And who came again in the middle of the night from that altitude? But Jason Knox, Fox, and the HPD. So the second lesson that I've taken out of this celebration today is that God has a plan for each and every one of us. And only God knows when your work on earth in the flesh is done. So I am convinced that the second thing that the Lord had for him was the saving of 3 lives. Now on April 1st, we were supposed to give him the life-saving awards, and we had to cancel it or postpone it because of the COVID crisis that we're all dealing with. And I want to just tell this church, thank you so much for this wonderful, this is the first real police funeral that only Jason Michael Knox in the country could have made happen right here today. So then let's move the clock up real quick, and I promise I'm almost done, but I mean, it's this, when you pray and God answers, you got to listen. That's part of the problem. God's always talking to us, but we got to open up our hearts and listen. And on May 2nd, when I got to that scene, after I got that call and drove from where I was at And I think they put a governor in my, talked to you about, I think that somebody put a governor in my Tahoe because it wouldn't go past 112, and I was really getting mad. But I'm going to fix it soon. And I got to that scene, and I saw that helicopter, and I saw HFD, Engine 74 and Medic 74, and later on Engine 84 showed up, and I saw them so frantically with all that fuel. It was fuel everywhere. And I was thinking to myself, well, I thought you were supposed to put foam on the fuel first. But you see, the other lesson you want to teach us is that courage in the Houston first response family runs long and runs deep, and HFD Engine 74 and HFD Medic 74 and later on 78 showed up, and they didn't worry about the foam. They didn't worry about anything other than they saw their brothers in Chase and in Jason needing help, and they put it on the line again to show that we've got the best first responder community in the nation right here. Engine 74, Medic 74, I know you guys are here. Stand up. Where are you guys? They're here somewhere. There you are. Let's give them a big hand. These are heroes. And then you all know that we had 79 Fox show up, and then we had Life Flight show up, and we know now that we've charged people with some criminal offense involving those aircraft. You know, they didn't turn around, they didn't run, they didn't hide. They finished the mission. And again, it was God using Jason to show us in the world what Houston's about, what he was about. And so, I've been crying, I've been hurting, but today I'm going to start rejoicing. Rejoicing that this man, that, you know, again, the good Lord could have taken him with an aneurysm, could have taken him any way he wanted, but he took him doing what he loved most, and that was saving lives and serving others, selflessly. Not worried about self, but worried about that stranger. And so I want to tell you all two things before I close. One, to Kira, I am a pest, and we're going to be pests. When we say we're family, we don't just mean in the good times. We mean in the good times and the bad times. We mean we're family. You're not going to be alone. You've got uncles and aunts, probably more than you'll ever want, but we're here. And we're going to be with you. I promise you. Even after I'm gone from here, this old man will continue, with your permission, to stay in touch with the family. We love you. We're going to take this step to honor him next year in Washington and at the memorial there, and we'll do it in Austin. The second thing is Mike Knox, badge 2374. Will never be used again. And we tell our cadets on day one, when you come into this department, my chiefs over there, Matt and Troy, I always say, this is your brand now, but there's one even more important brand, and that's the name on your chest. You honored us, all of you, by giving us Jason. And by giving us a man that carried on the tradition of the Knox family in a manner that is worthy of celebration. And so 2374 will never be used again. We'll be retired as long as the history of this department exists, unless we have to do a ceremony for another Knox that might decide public service. After all, Mom, it runs in the genes on both sides, right? Public service. You never say never. The last thing I'll say is this. Jason is soaring in heaven, but thanks to John Whitmire and Governor Patrick, this last budget, we were able to secure $8 million in a state grant. Because you all know, Mayor, you know how our budget is. And we got an $8 million grant, and we will be getting a B-3 helicopter that's coming in. It should be here in the next 6 months. And that airship, we don't know what the sign will, what numbers it'll be, but we know what it will be named. It will be named after a hero, a friend, a father, a son, and it will be named Jason Michael Knox, as a reminder that promises that are made are promises that need to be kept. So thank you to the Knox family for just showing us all what strength, what character, what commitment, what service is all about. We stand with you, and again, we thank you for the great man that you raised. God bless you all. Thank you very much.
On December 5th, 2011, and ended his tour duty on May 2nd, 2020. On the authority of Chief Robert Azevedo, the Houston Police Department, Officer Jason Michael Knox LODD, Knox.